Welcome back. I'm here with Football League editor Pascal Lemaire to talk about Bristol City versus Brentford. There's only one place to start here, Brentford's capitulation in the League Cup against Oxford United.
Yeah, massive disappointment there. Oxford, a League Two team, for Brentford to lose 4-0 at home. They're 3-0 down very quickly. And the thing is, Dijkhuizen, he made a load of changes, 10 changes I think it was. Vibe was the only player who kept his place from the weekend. And yeah, to lose 4-0 like that at home, and it's not like they were, young players. I mean, they've made a load of signings this summer. They lost a lot of key players as well, but their central defenders was Bjelland and Barbet, who were two of their big signings this summer. Bjelland, especially the Danish guy, he's a Danish international, and he's the one that they think can really shore up that back line for Brentford. But they were just all over the place at the back. The goalkeeper, Jack Bonham, had an absolute shocker. I think 2 or 3 of the goals were his fault. One of them, it was a brilliant strike from about 40 yards, I think it was. Good for Oxford there, but for Brentford not to even score at home against a League Two club. I know it's hard once you fall so far behind, but it's not even scoring. The thing is that those players that started should have wanted to impress because they didn't get in the side at the weekend against Ipswich. So for them to lose 4-0 like that, it's very disappointing. And Brentford, a lot of people saying they should be good this season after all the change this summer, but it's not been a good start at all.
And they could have started the league season with defeat as well, but for an incredible late comeback against Ipswich.
Yeah, I mean, I think for large parts of the game, Ipswich, were on top there. Ipswich took a 2-0 lead. I think goals just either side at half time, but then going into injury time, Andre Gray, who didn't start that match, Hull are very interested in him. I think I've seen today that Hull have made a third bid for him, but he started that game on the bench. Gray came off the bench, scored the first to make it 2-1, and then I think it was the 96th minute they send a corner into the box. Ipswich defended it badly, and then Tarkowski just manages to stick it in on the line, and they get a point there, which they didn't really deserve there. But I mean, for me, Brentford at the moment, there's the issues with the pitch as well. They've just earlier today, they've had to postpone next week's game against Birmingham to relay the pitch, and the pitch is something that surely should. The pitch is usually good at the start of the season. Some pitches cut up by the end of the season, but it's right at the start of the season. The pitch is already cutting up. I saw the Ipswich winger Ryan Fraser said it's the worst pitch he's played on start or end of the season. So big problem there, and at the moment they just don't look great, and it's not been a good start at all.
As for Bristol City, back up in the Championship now, but they've started with 2 defeats.
They have, yeah. The start of the season at Hillsborough against Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday, they're another team that's been a lot of change around the club, and some people think they'll do quite well this season, but Bristol City, they went there. I mean, they didn't create too many chances. The thing is, they've kept largely the team that was so good in League One last year, stormed to the title last year. They've kept pretty much the whole team that was there. A couple of new signings, but they just didn't do much in that game. Didn't really create too many chances. Wednesday got a couple of goals, and Bristol didn't really do too much apart from that, to be honest. And then they go to Luton in the Capital One Cup, and they didn't really do too much again there. Losing 3-1 away at Luton's disappointing. And Steve Cotter, he named a strong side again for that cup game. So two goal defeats, against sides that he might have fancied beating.
And things are starting to kick off for them in the transfer market now. There's big talk of Dwight Gale coming to the club. What do you make of that?
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because Steve Cotterill, in his post-match interview after the defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, said, I've been disappointed with the way that the transfers have been handled this summer. We haven't been able to sign anyone I want. The only player they'd signed is Kodja, the $2 million striker, who he looked a bit out of place against Wednesday, to be honest. He didn't look quite acclimatised to the English game. But apart from that, in the last week, they've made a few signings. They've brought in Ben Hamer, Ryan Fredericks, and Callum Robinson, that linked with Alan Judge. But yeah, the Dwight Gale thing, it came out, I think it was on Tuesday, that they made a $6 million bid for, and where's that money come from? Bristol, just come up from League One, already thrown around $6 million. It's a lot of money, and I mean, I think Dwight Gale would do well coming back to the Championship. I've read reports that he's not that keen on dropping down a division, and if they bid up to, say, it could go up to $8 million for him. That's a lot of money for a player who, has a decent goal record for Palace, but he's just a poacher, really, and it's whether, I think that would be a massive overspend if they did buy him for that, but he's a sort of player who could help them, push towards the top half.
Both clubs pretty in need of a win after these first 2 games. So which way do you see it going?
I'm going to pick Bristol here. I just think Brentford, for me at the moment, they just look there for the taking, if you ask me. I mean, it might work out the way this Moneyball approach they're using, and the signings they've made might start to gel, but there's a new head coach, all these new signings. They've lost so many key players. I mean, Odubajo, Dallas, Douglas, Pritchard, they're 4 of their key players from last season. If they lose Gray to Hull as well, that's arguably their 5 best players from last season, all gone, and no matter who you bring in, to lose your core like that, it doesn't help you. So I think Bristol here, it's going to be their first home game of the season, so I'm going to pick them to win 2-1.
So Sportsmore going for a 2-1 win for Bristol City.